Hi, everyone. For my Unit 8 case studies, chose for my responsive one to look at an employee or address an employee who has been consistently tardy and missing responsibilities. And I think that's a really good time for a circle because it's having broader implications and impact on other people. So what I would do first is talk with the employee ahead of time. And we talk about the specific different each one of the incidents that happen, and we would use the restorative question cards. I think this is just really helpful to have in hand and really go right down the list so that the employee and I had a good understanding of things. And then there might be some things that come out of that we make some decisions around, but I still think it would be a good idea to have a circle for the opportunity for that employee and the people that they impacted through their actions to have a chance to come together and talk through that and to hear each other. So what I would do then is I'd reach out to the different people who were impacted and give them the opportunity to join the circle. We'd schedule it out so that there was a little bit of prep time for it. And for this particular problem-solving circle, I think going sequentially would make the most sense. That's how I would approach that. So with that prep work done and with the foundation laid out, I would kick off the circle and I would restate the goal, which is we want to have a good understanding of the impact that these collective different issues have had and what needs to be done to make it right. And so I'd restate that goal. And one of the other things I would do is I'd also take some ownership, putting myself in this case study here as the supervisor or manager in this case. I probably should have had a conversation or held a circle much sooner than this. If it's at a point where it's a pattern, that's a problem. So that would have been a miss on my part, and which is why we'd be having a circle talking about these collective issues over time. So given that, I would frame the question slightly differently than what are on the cards to account that we're talking about a pattern of behaviors here. So I'd set that up. We would then set our norms as a group, go around and do that. And then the questions that I would use are this, and we go in this order. It would, what has happened? So again, we're talking about a number of different incidents here. So won't go into in-depth for each one of them, but enough to talk about the pattern that's there. Then, what were you thinking when they happened? From there, what have you thought about since they have happened? And then the final two questions, what impact have they had on you and others? And what do you think needs to happen to make things right? I know it's kind of a combination of the two sides of our question cards here, but since we have someone who was causing the issue and those impacted in there, felt like this was the right blend to have. So assuming that all goes well and that we arrive at some agreed upon action items at the end, when we talk about what needs to happen to make things right, I would close the circle with a checkout where each person would state what they've committed to do. I'm thinking offhand, it might be useful to put something in writing and just so that there's something to look at from a consistency standpoint, but I'd have to feel that out for the situation. But then what I would want to make sure that I'm doing is following up afterwards in the coming days and weeks. Are we living up to, for each one of us, the things that we had committed to individually and as a group? So that's how I would handle the responsive case study. For the proactive case study, I chose the one of that was this: you have created your community. How do you maintain this on a daily, weekly, monthly, ongoing basis? And I chose this because that's where I'm at right now. I have a team that has been established over the last 2 years. And so what I would want to put in place early on and then continue to do, first off, is create norms for the unit. What are the things that we expect of each other? How do we want to communicate? What are priorities? Anything that might make sense from that perspective. From there, I'd like to revisit them. So not that they're just set it and forget it, but especially when we bring new team members in to make sure that the norms still make sense. And on an ongoing basis, I would want to, especially in supervision and in team meetings, be using affective statements and questions so that we're creating that dialogue. Small impromptu conversations is needed. It might be one-on-one with individuals in the unit. Might bring a couple of us together to discuss some things. As we're meeting, I really do value check-ins and check-outs. They really can set the tone. They can build relationships. Sometimes they can be just fun, and that's good to build that team camaraderie. Other times they might be more directive about the particular meeting that we're discussing, or the situation that we're discussing, or the project. So having those used consistently would definitely do that as well. And then apart from just working all the time, which is my tendency, I'm here, let's grind. I want to make sure that there is time for relationships to develop. And that means having formal and informal times where we're able to just listen to each other, to hear what's going on in our lives as much as people want to share, what we're working on, what we need, and just those opportunities to build connection and relationships. And then more formally, to do team builders occasionally. Particularly for my team now, we like ice cream. So that would be one that we would probably do. So that's how I would approach my proactive case study and using different restorative practices from that regard. Thanks.